Well, I got the hood and the bumper painted, and I'm not so happy with the results. I kept getting water drops. So I'm going to have to wet sand it, buff it out. Hopefully that'll get rid of them. There's another one there. One there, one there. Couple here. Another one there. So once it dries, I guess I'll wet sand it, buff it. Hopefully it turns out okay. The bumper, not so bad, but still, I don't know if I'm happy with the results. There's a water spot there. We'll find out when it dries out completely and I get it back on the car how it looks. If I had been thinking on the hood, I would have just hung it up here on the contraption I made to take it off the car. Then it would be in a up and down position instead of horizontal. It'd be vertical, less chance of getting water spots on it. It just doesn't look as glossy and smooth as it should. Oh well, that's what happens when you do this once every 5 years or more. I don't remember the last time I painted this much. Anyway, I'll let them dry all day. Maybe later this afternoon or tomorrow I'll put them back on the car, see what they look like. The clear coat takes quite a while to dry. I don't want to scuff it up messing around with it. The bumper doesn't look too bad, but you know, you got brand new paint compared to 12-year-old paint. I'm going to buff the paint on the car that I didn't paint. Hopefully that'll help them blend in, but I guess it is what it is. It's a fixer-upper that I fixed her upper. My professional body guy, he probably, I'm sure, would have done a better job, and maybe he would have blended the paint into the doors so it's not such a stark transition, but it's just, you know, I'll see what I can sell it for. Make a little money for my time. I'll keep you updated as I get things done on it. Well, I got the hood and the bumper painted, and when I painted the hood, I had it sitting on this cardboard box to get it up off the table so I could get around the edges better. And we left town for a couple hours, went to a casino, and it was super windy where we went, and I was like, I hope it doesn't get windy like that where we're living, and it wasn't. But when we got home, it was a little breezy, and I thought sometimes we get 40-50 mile an hour winds, it could blow the hood over, and then I would have problems. And I thought it could even blow the bumper off of there, but it didn't, fortunately. But I lowered the hood, and what I did was I was going to put the hood on the car and just set it on there because it would latch in the front. At least it wouldn't blow over. Well, I put it up where it belongs, up by the window, and it didn't look like it was going to fit. Now, I put this quarter panel on yesterday, and I put all the bolts in it that go in it. So it's where it's supposed to be, supposedly. But it looked like it was too tight of a fit, which means this side is probably pushed in just a little bit. And you realize you only have an eighth of an inch gap on both sides. So if it's off by a half an inch, it could mess up the fitment. So I brought a tape measure out. I'm going to measure it, and I'm going to measure the hood, see if this thing's going to fit. This isn't going to be as easy as I thought. I've got 55 3/8 inches from this point to the other point. But the hood has this reinforcement sticking up, so I can't measure there exactly. So I got to figure out a way, something to set it up against that I can butt my tape measure up against it, because just trying to hold my tape there in midair isn't working. Okay, so I moved this little makeshift frame I built, and it's touching the edge right there, so at least I can butt my tape measure up to there. See how close to 55 3/8 inches we are. Try to do this so you can see it. I have 55 3/8 inches, maybe a 1/16 less. Then if we go over here to the car, sorry it's upside down, but okay, it's resting on that corner. Ah, too much pressure. bent the tape measure. As you can see, I got 55 3/8 inches. So that makes it pretty much an exact fit. And I had to put some pressure on this hood in to get this bolt in, and I think that's what sucked it in. So I'm gonna have to try to pound this bracket out, maybe 1/4 of an inch to give me some room. Now this part was damaged, and maybe it got sucked in. It might have to get pushed out to push that out. I think pretty much I gotta just move that bracket there so I get a little more gap right here. Let me see what I can do. So I took out 2 bolts, this one and this one. Now this is, I'm sure, an aftermarket fender, so you don't know how close it was made to the original, and my original one was smashed beyond recognition. So when I push this down to get the bolt lined up, it brings it in. Same thing here, when I push this down, it brings the whole fender in. Right now I have plenty of room. Let's get the tape measure. See if I can do this and hold the camera. Okay, it's on the other fender, so I gained a 1/2 inch, over 1/2 inch. It gives me plenty of room. So I'm just gonna have to figure out how I can bolt the fender down and not close up the gap. I think I'm gonna pound this over just a little bit. I got a rubber mallet here. Let's see if I can get a little adjustment out of that. Well, I think what I'm gonna do is attach the hood to the hinges, and then I can swing it up and down and have a better view of what's going on, because this measuring, as soon as I pounded this over a little bit, and as soon as I tightened it back up, I'm right back to where I was. Now when I put this cross member in, this hole did not line up. I had to re-drill it. So these pieces aren't made exact to match factory. So it's possible this hole is not where it belongs, and this has to be moved over. So I'll slot that out or something so I can move it over 1/4 of an inch. And maybe that will help move this over. But I also have, it's also bolted down here. So, and that bracket was definitely, well, busted right there. Maybe that's just bent in too far too. So I might have to move that out. The only reason I didn't replace this is because I don't have a welder. And this is welded on. I could probably get it, maybe, and then bolt it on, but I'm trying to do it without doing that. It's still nice and solid. It just, the bottom part got cracked there, as you can see. Maybe I'll have to replace that bracket. I'm hoping not. Well, this is kind of interesting. I have this strap that I use to hold the hood while I put it on. And I had it at the end here, so I could just pull the car in, hook the hood up, it held it in place while I hooked the hinges up. Well, the wind blew enough that it moved it back 3 feet. It's now sitting back here. And also, there's half of a griddle for a waffle maker, and it was sitting up here on this wall, and it blew it off of there. So yeah, it did get pretty windy. Fortunately, didn't do any damage. Now let me get this hood hooked up. Okay, I've got the hood on. Now at least I can raise and lower it, see how the alignment looks. My neighbors are probably wondering, why does he keep putting that hood on and off and on and off? I put it on originally to line it up, get the hinges where they belonged. Then I took it off to take it to the paint guy, and then the paint guy didn't show up like he was supposed to. So I brought it back and I put it back on to cover the motor. Then I took it off to paint it, and now it's back on again. I probably had it off one other time in between there. So let me see how this thing lines up. I'm gonna put you guys in line with it so you can see. Well, it seems like what I did worked. I've got a gap there. The hood is not latched, but it's down where, pretty close where it belongs. Let me take you to the other side. So it's got a gap over here too, but it's almost hitting here. But I can adjust that gap by pushing on the base of the hood, and it'll spring the hinges over a little bit. And I've got a little bit bigger gap on this side, so I can do that. Let me raise it up and give it a little shove, see what it looks like. That might be as good as it's going to get. As you can see, the gap's tighter here and a little wider there, but that's just because of the way the fender or the hood's made, one or the other. And I might be able to pull, that's lined up pretty good there though. I might get a little bit out of it. But this other side has a gap now, and I can shove it just a hair more, but at least it'll open and shut and not bang metal on metal and chip the paint. Now, the paint did not turn out good like I wanted it to. The clear coat didn't come out as smooth as I thought it would. And I had water in the line. I thought my dryer or my filter was going to catch it, but there's a lot of water spots. So what I think I'll do is end up wet sanding it, try to get rid of all these blemishes, and then I can buff it out. It's not a bad match, but the finish just isn't as smooth as it should be compared to the old right there. Kind of got an orange peely look to it. Not happy with it, but I'm not a paint and body guy. If my guy had showed up like he was supposed to, he would have done it. Anyway, she's coming along. I think I'll go ahead and see if I can get the bumper on here temporary. Actually, what I'm going to do is try to work on the headlights next, because the headlights have to go in before the bumper goes on. And as you can see over here from the accident, I've got some torn wire, which I'm not sure what they go to. I think these might go to the sensors in the window washer reservoir, which I have to get a new one of those. Have to see if my headlights are going to plug in and work, and get those mounted in there somehow or another before the bumper goes back on. So I'll end this video for now. I'm going to play around with the headlights. I've got to find the driver's side headlight. Can't remember where I put it, and get it back in, see what we're looking at. Well, I don't know what I was thinking when I was ordering parts. I guess I was so worried about the passenger side that was all smashed. I just didn't think about this headlight. It looks like crap. So I just ordered a new one, because the other side is going to be new. Going to be new bumper, hood, fender. Well, I have this old yellow faded headlight on there. Kick myself now. I should have noticed that before and had it here. So now I'm going to concentrate on the lights, and it's mostly the wiring harnesses, because this is the wiring harness for the driver's side. There's another one there, another one there. So what I've got to do is come over here and figure out what's broken, what's missing, what wires go to what, because you can see I've got stripped wires there, stripped wires here. This connector is broken. Maybe it's included with the headlight, I'm not sure. Just don't know, but something's broken right there. So I gotta try to figure this mess out and get all these headlight wiring harnesses out of here. Like that one, hopefully it's savable with the new headlight. There's another one, the light doesn't work, but hopefully it's just the bulb, and it looks like it is, because I look inside there, it's broken. So let me concentrate on that and see if I can get these wiring harnesses on both sides to work. On a side note, I was looking for the headlight I bought, and I came across this insulation pad that I'd taken off the old hood. So I went ahead and got it installed. Now I bought this assortment of connectors. What are they called? I don't know. Anyway, there's quite an assortment. I bought some more. They're in the house, but I found some that aren't too long. They're just the right diameter, and they snap right into place. So now the hood insulation is installed, so we're getting one step closer. I was thinking I could take the old headlight and see which of these connectors is going to work, but I do have the new headlight, so I got it out. It's right here. I'll see what it's going to take to hook that up. Well, this is going to be a challenge. I got the headlight set here temporarily. Now there's supposed to be a screw that goes right there. As you can see, they don't line up. And I don't know if it's the headlight or the fender hole, but I'm going to have to make an adjustment there. And at the bottom, same thing. Underneath that piece of black plastic, you can see that white connector, and they're at least 3/4 of an inch off from lining up. Now this was all smashed in here, and I straightened it out as best I could, but obviously it needs some more tweaking. Maybe it needs to be brought forward more, but I measured it and the bracket is exactly where it's supposed to be, so I don't know what I'll do there. I may have to improvise with tie downs or zip ties or something. Drill another hole in that piece of metal down there so I can get a screw in it. I'll have to do something, and then I got to work on the wiring harness now, but that's where the headlight's going to sit when she's done, hopefully. I apologize if this video seems kind of choppy, but I'm just trying to put this car back together, and I'm sure no expert at it, but I did put the old headlight in, just temporary. I got the screw in there, and I got the screw in there, so I can at least get an idea what it's supposed to look like. Maybe I can see something that's not quite right, which is the reason why this one's not going into place. If you look at this, it doesn't fit too bad. It's not perfect, but it's up in there pretty tight in that corner. Same thing with this one. Of course, this is factory, so it fits almost perfect. But again, I don't know if it's the headlight or the fender. That should be a pretty much no gap right there. And here we have a little bit of a gap, so maybe there's some way to force this up further in there. I'll have to try that. And I'll have to check all the fitment around the bracket, see if it's hitting on the bracket or anything like that. But at least that will give me an idea of what I'm looking at. Well, I took out these broken pieces. This one, fortunately, the part that is broken is included with a new headlight. This one was broken, of course, and I disconnected that, disconnected this. So now I'm going to turn the lights on to see if any of these work. Well, look at that. We have headlights and whatever that is, marker light. I guess I'll have to plug in the other side and compare them, but I'm assuming this is the bright lights. Let me turn that on real quick. Oh, that makes me feel much better. I have headlights, bright lights, that marker light. Kind of weird that it's white, but at least it's working. That's good. Now I just have to figure out how to fasten this and see what those other wires go to. Well, I was trying to use the blinkers and they weren't working, but I wasn't sure why. Well, you have to have the key on, evidently, because I turned on the emergency flashers, which you don't have to have the key on for. And that one works. I found that in the car. I'd taken it off. That goes into the bumper. And I didn't think the back ones were working. But that one's working. That one's working, but this tail light doesn't seem to come on. So I'm gonna have to investigate that further. It's really hard to see out here in the bright light, but I can see the one on the driver's side. So there's something that I missed, because part of this bumper was missing because it got smashed so much. So I've got to order the other blinker for the front. I've got the new headlight coming, and you can see why I ordered one. That one's even got a plastic film on it, which has to come off. But it looks pretty good versus this one that looks terrible. Anyway, making some progress. My headlights work over here. I'm missing the blinker. And from the looks of the wire, I don't know, I'll have to see. Maybe the wires are down there, I'm not sure. Onward and upward. Well, I put the bumper on temporarily, then I took it back off because I remember all these pieces that snap in. They snap in from the inside. So I got this grill snapped into place. I just got this one out, getting ready to snap it into place. And then there's a piece that goes over here. Now on the driver's side I have the blinker. I already got that in. It's right here. I've got to order another blinker. I've got this piece, so I've got to order the blinker and the other piece, and also this cover is missing. I got to get that ordered. So I'll get this snapped in, and then I was trying to figure out why the hood emblem wouldn't work. It just wasn't snapping into place, but it's because I'm pretty sure this piece needs to be in there for it to snap to. So we'll find out here shortly.